Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
You shit. You did that.
Draft day intro?
No, you're actually gonna do it.
Oh no. And our mics are on so everyone can hear us to get mad about the draft day intro? Oh man. Okay, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, all rise for the RankKing's court.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another glorious episode of the best show on the interweb. Oh yeah, it's been said.
No, Austin, I played the RankKing's court intro. Draft day was last night. Sorry, I know I confused you too.
I see what you did there. I see what you did. False information. So, yes, as you all know, I'm seeing right now, Vo not able to be in attendance tonight, but for good reason. So we brought our loving partner back on the show. The one that
two things. One, Ryan Roberts, 6969 writes in, Daddy Moorhead. What has happened to the show since the last time I was on?
A lot of things, man. A lot of things.
And two, I want a name. So there's the Squire and the Oracle. Is that still a thing?
So, yes. So we have Vo
and
is the Oracle, and yeah, that's true. And Greg is Noble Knight.
Noble Knight.
So,
Noble Knight. I get 2 words.
Yeah,
baby.
what the shit?
I'm like, I'm trying to think what
one.
you would be.
I mean, I would be the king. I started the company, semantics.
I don't know. I want to call you like the Dark Magician, but I feel like that's a ripoff of.
I feel like that's not a real term for medieval times.
Or you could also just be Deke the Duke.
Ooh. Duke Deke.
I was going to say either that or Merry Man.
Merry Man? That's not bad.
Duke Deke's fine. Duke Deke.
All right.
Duke.
But yeah, so we got Deke back on the show tonight, and for a good topic to bring on for this. I'm excited, guys. Tonight is all about James Isaac Neutron. Jimmy Neutron for tonight's show. Going to be a wonderful one, especially since we did, Fairly Odd Parents about 2 weeks ago. So
yes, we did.
Great debate falls around that.
Still controversial, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Extremely.
I would say not, but
I would say so. I have another bone to pick with you now. Actually, I said I only had one bone. Why does Dre get a Instagram, his and yours, and I didn't get asked to be a part of that?
But
like the Euphoria episode, you guys each ranked your top 10. I just feel like Greg backed me up here. Like I feel like I'm a little more important than Dre.
Let's be fair, you are filling in. We normally do that for our guests, but you are filling in. So technical terms.
Greg, I don't like that.
Well, also in fairness, Deke, while he may be filling in, it's also a special appearance.
Oh, am I not special, Austin?
Your Noble-esque is getting strictly
right.
taken away in a couple of seconds.
I'll stop. Also, Bo said, have a good show, guys. Hope the new kid doesn't stink. And I wrote back, I'm going to block you. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, big show for tonight, Jimmy Neutron. A show that kind of gets lost in the weeds when it comes in terms of Nickelodeon with like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents and all that stuff. But I firmly believe it's still one of the top 4 or 3, if anything, of you would always have, put it in this perspective. They wouldn't have made a Nicktoons Unite game if they didn't have these 4 shows. Jimmy Neutron, SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom. Without those 4 shows, I firmly believe that Nickelodeon doesn't take off into what it has become lately. So,
yeah, it's a good base. But I saw a tweet today that said, basically, like it was just along the lines of the sentiment of how bad Disney Channel messed up. Like, Disney Channel obviously was very parallel with Nickelodeon Cartoon Network, and like how they basically just fell off and all their shows stink now. But when you think about those iconic shows, Nickelodeon Cartoon Network is obviously a very big conversation. Jimmy Neutron, I would agree with you. I think it is one of the ones. It's like the unsung hero of that group.
Yeah.
I think it's considered unsung, especially because of the fact too that it's not quote unquote a cartoon. It's like it's computer animated and stuff.
That's fair.
I think,
Yep.
and I think some people may not give it as much of a. I don't want to say it gets a bad rap or anything because I think it's fairly popular. But I think part of the reason that maybe people don't think of it in that regards is probably because of the fact that it's not necessarily a true cartoon, which we shouldn't hold it against in all seriousness because it's a great show.
Blood Bomb writes in, Deke loves big sweaty men. So
Can confirm.
has Blood Bomb been commenting on your guys' show?
From time, I was going to say he did comment on one time. I think he put lukewarm Steve Austin. And left,
okay, that makes sense. Can't talk, drinking with the family. Love you, Blood Bomb. I appreciate you tuning in always, buddy. All right, Austin, what's going on for tonight? I know that we're doing Jimmy Neutron. I'm excited for the first ranking. Are you ready?
I am very stoked because if there's one thing that Jimmy Neutron does well, it's use his big brain. So we're going to get into it with radical ranking number 1.
I transition back. Say brain blast. My bad.
Brain blast.
There it is.
All righty. Jimmy Neutron, big time inventor. Thought about this long and hard, was going to make this the debate originally, and then thought, let's work around it. So we have the top Jimmy Neutron inventions for this radical ranking because
this is gonna be good.
I think so. I kind of maybe went a little bit biased on some naturally.
Define invention for me, buddy.
So anything that he has built, helped build, create, any of this sense.
Chip writes in here.
There. just here. It's like the poke on Facebook. Poke.
Yep.
Thanks, Chip.
Glad you're here, Chip. Let's not waste any time. Let's get into it with number 5. One that is used profoundly in the show.
Yes.
Number 5 is the shrink ray.
Love you guys. You're a legend, Deke. I love you, Blood Bomb. Peace, buddy. Enjoy your family. Shrink ray. Amazing pick.
Yes.
I appreciate it too because it was originally a remote control as well that he tweaked. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Like can you imagine going to press mute and then you're the size of an ant? I mean, that's straight up weird, man. But the shrink ray came into Jimmy Neutron through the actual movie to start.
Yes.
Used it as a show and tell project and ended up shrinking Miss Fowl to the size of an ordinary ant, where then it was survival mode for her as she grabbed a pencil and fended off a very hungry worm from her apple that she was eating, which I was...
Now that was a great impression. Mrs. Fowl is a very, very unique
just the yelling ones.
Say the least.
I feel like the yelling ones.
It makes no sense to me. Why? Wow. All right. Chip writes in, book gum better make the top 5.
Oh, that's interesting.
Bookum was cool, actually.
Bookum was fire.
Was awesome. Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know.
Austin's sweating a little bit.
Oh, he's upset.
Okay, well, that's why
Bookum was a good one.
What's defined? All right, I'm gonna have to see what's defined as an invention because book gum, where you literally chew gum and you read the entire book.
Very true.
It was impressive. Yes.
I don't know if it beats Shrink Ray, but it certainly doesn't beat our number 4. From the movie again itself. This was the amusement park Armada. You're going to tell me that a book that's chewed is better than a whole bunch of amusement park rides that are converted into space warcrafts?
Hear me out. Little more practical.
I agree with Greg. Better invention. Here's what I'm saying, Austin. Can I sell a tank to my neighbor? Probably not. Can I sell gum to my neighbor that helps them read a book in a second? Yes.
Well, okay, if we're going on the lines of salesmanship, then I guess maybe it's not a. I didn't know that. Maybe I didn't put that into the category for what I was doing. But I mean,
That's fair.
You got to figure though, like all amusement park rides that are being converted into spacecrafts alone to make them safe is insane, because there is one, if I remember correctly, it's not safe itself, but it's one of those swingers, and there's like 20 of them, like 20 lines on it for like you, but instead of like putting it in the harness for your chest, it has like your head in it. So you're hanging by like your neck the whole time. And the only reason I remember is like when they're flying through space and everything, and I was like, hey, do you think we can switch? And then the guy's like, hey, yeah, we'll switch. As he's like going around like the whole time. You gotta figure like I didn't think that was a safe ride to begin with, but
No.
And a couple things too I'm going to point out to. The two things that are predominant questions that we have always wanted to know about space travel and were answered, but unfortunately we never got the actual answer. Number one, why does it take so quick for them to travel from Earth to the moon, but for astronauts it takes forever? And then two, why don't they need helmets to breathe in oxygen when they're flying through outer space?
I think right there and then is one of the greatest cartoon, whatever you want to call it, moments in history, because it switches right over to Carl, and it is just, well, that's an easy one, Sheen, and just Carl.
Goodbye, moon. I'll see you next June.
Blood Bomb writes in, gonna have my brother watch the Streamy Legends. I love Deke, Denny Smalls, and Alex, and lukewarm Steve Austin. Oh, Blood Bomb, you would love Greg. You'd love Greg more than anybody, Blood Bomb. He's a Southampton fan.
Oh, and the Saints go marching in.
But
even though we got our ass kicked by Man City this weekend.
Everyone does. It sucks. Austin, what is number 3, my friend?
let's get into it. Number 3. So with this, I thought, is this a little bit of a cop-out? I don't think so, because it's used in the show, I think, more than any other invention. And that's the hover car.
That's why I asked at the beginning what's defined as an invention. Not disagreeing at all, but it is, how he basically gets around.
Mm-hmm. Because the rocket was originally like his main use of transportation, but then when the hover car became a thing in the later seasons, it went everywhere with him. So yeah.
Well, it's that and the fact of no one is stopping this kid to, like, he clearly doesn't have a license, but
don't need one for a hover car.
Don't need one. It's the old
SpongeBob
SpongeBob reference. You don't need a license to drive a sandwich.
Yes,
so.
Exactly.
But the hover car used more than any invention in the entire show, and just for transportation. He's saved countless lives from it alone.
Mm-hmm. Can I gotta knowing the ranking we currently have, Austin, it is not the most used invention.
Well, maybe we get into number 2 and 1. Maybe that's what it is.
But you just said it was the most used. That's lying.
I personally think it's the most useful invention. But
Austin, real quick though, I will counterpoint to this. While he did save a lot of lives with this, I have to bring up the point too that Sheen, Libby, and Carl also sunk a cruise ship with the hover car as well. So
that's true, but I mean,
I'm just saying.
Comment, guys. Chip writes in, can't believe Neutronic game period will be this high. I'm just going to throw it out there, Oz. Neutronic game period is...
Chip, if you're more than welcome, I'll call in sick next week and you can come on the show and, you put the crown on, feel all warm and fuzzy. You can do it, man.
Shout out to Chipper though for knowing his stuff about
this is true though.
Jimmy Neutron inventions.
I didn't know you watched Jimmy Neutron. Greg, you know what the Neutronic game pyramid is, right?
I do think I remember an episode with this, but I'm struggling on it.
I believe that's the Llama-Palooza.
This is the game system.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
got
and
it.
it's a giant pyramid, and he puts in Llama-Palooza. Yeah.
Okay, I remember now.
Amazing. Austin, is number 2 the Neutronic game period?
It is not, unfortunately.
Is it book gum?
Yikes. No. Number 2 is, in fact, what helps him throughout this entire series. Not only is it the lab, but it is the person in charge of the lab, Vox. What gets him into the lab, what helps him out. I mean, argue this, none of these inventions happen and correspond and get tested the right way without Vox.
Yeah,
I gotta give you credit for that because Vox is technically an artificial intelligence. Yeah, that's completely understandable, Austin.
I will say the picture in my mind, I love it. It's kind of a ripoff of 2001: Space Odyssey. Yeah. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay,
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, without it, I mean, that's how all his stuff stays secret. Like, because you need a piece of his hair to get in. Oh my God, the Black Parade all over.
Yeah, does Chip do this every he says
time.
This is the Black Parade all over again.
Yeah.
To be fair,
it's a good point though.
When we did our When We Were Young episode, My Chemical Romance was number 1 for both Steph and myself, Chip.
Yeah, but Michael Jordan's my number 1 and the Bulls aren't. I don't think that's fair.
Well, yeah. Whatever.
That's all you got.
Let's then get to the most quote unquote used invention in the entire show.
Yeah.
This is I mean, if this isn't number 1, and then I don't know what show you're watching. This is man's best mechanical friend. This is Goddard.
If Goddard wasn't number 1, we would have had problems, man. Goddard's not only deservedly number 1, but I think Goddard is kind of the dream dog.
Chip writes in jetpack.
Ooh.
I thought the jetpack might be taken over the hover car, but back to Goddard. I think that the coolest thing about Goddard is all that he can do, but also that he barks like a dog and is there. And if we right now did a draft of, because DraftKings on Mondays is the best show on Touch of the Bench, second to
you gotta throw that one in there.
But if we did a draft of fake dogs we wanted to own, like fake dogs that we wanted as our dogs, Goddard has to be number 1 in my mind.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, even I had to laugh. Even in the one scene, he, poos like a dog, but he poos out nuts.
Yeah.
And they're like, God, not on the porch.
And it's like, doesn't that mean something's wrong with him?
I feel like that does, yeah.
Who knows, man? But I mean, this is every single episode. There is a point where Jimmy is lost for his mind, doesn't know what to do, and Goddard gives him
a lick.
3. That's true. That happens. Gives him 3 distinct options to choose from, to where he like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And I love how like the one is like responsible, and then the second one is like completely off the wall. Yep. Like it's like, what do I do? And like 2 is like, run away from like your family. It's like, no, like why would no?
It's an option though.
Gotta have it.
What did you leave off the table, Us, if I can ask? What else was on?
The book gum was probably on there. Brobot was probably on there.
Brobot was one that when they first read it,
cool.
I was hoping, but I understand why. But yeah, Brobot was sick.
I hated the fact that when he was called Brobot and then he wanted to get rid of him, they're like, oh, here's your parents, Mombot and Pop-Pot. And I said, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I feel like Dad Bot
could have been a lot better. That's fair.
Not the organic. Wow. The remote chewed bubble gum, where he like blows it and it's like a giant bubble that he bounces around in, was used in a couple
from the
times.
movie. Yeah.
Bubblegum's
that would
great.
be up there.
I also want to call out there was my personal favorite, the world's greatest candy.
No, yes. That's a great one.
Yeah. Salty, sweet, creamy, and then everyone just gets addicted to it and they become like savages.
That and the Battle of the Bands guitar set and the drums.
Yes.
So you guys just think that's
incredible. Real life rock band, man.
Yeah, dude.
I kind of also want to throw in the one where it shows you your future as well. That was pretty cool.
I don't know if I'd want that.
Say.
I don't know if I'd want
I
that.
think Rick. I did until I saw Rick and Morty, Austin. The future crystals or whatever they're called. What are they called?
Yeah, no, the crystals that show like how you die.
Yes,
like,
I wanted to know and then I was like, well, that's just a lot.
and then we see Morty basically have his whole life revolve around just going in one particular way to live with Jessica.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of inventions though with this.
A million. That's the crux of the show.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, let's get then. I'm assuming we don't have any other ones to talk about. I think those are the prime bread and butter of the show.
Yeah. Denny writes in, look at these nerds. Denny, you missed it. I played our intro. What's that, Denny? You want to hear our intro? Here? No, I'm just kidding, Austin.
He really wants to see himself get knocked off that motorcycle again.
Shawshank Redemption. Crack.
Damn.
All right then. Let's get on our way to radical ranking number 2.
Oh, see, Greg, I didn't press it yet because I thought you were going to say something. Now we're just sitting here.
I had nothing.
Okay, here's the intro.
I had no-
Alrighty. Number 2, the top Jimmy Neutron characters. Now, side characters might have been a play here. However, because that was brought to my attention. However, I thought that if I left the crucial loves off this show, people would have been like, where's this person? Where's this person? This person's technically a side character, and they're not the main one. And, you know,
I'm interested to see what people like. Denny, I know, was a big fan of Jimmy Neutron. I'm interested to see what they think of the characters. Because
Austin, I'm just gonna point this out here too.
Yeah.
You looked like you were having a stroke, by the way, when you were doing that. So I would just be very careful next time. Yeah.
Greg is a very concerned individual.
Just be careful, bud.
I'll have you know my health is in good shape. Not great shape, but good shape.
Round is a shape.
fair.
That's what I have.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
All right, God.
Have you never heard that before?
No, I have.
Okay.
I expect you to say it.
I'm round.
But let's get into number 5. This would have been top 1 in like the side characters.
Agreed.
Overall,
Agreed.
100%. This is the. Let me get into fruition here.
Vo, cut the clip here.
This is the master of the slap, 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 clap, 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 slap, 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 clap, 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 Balby. This is Bolby Stroganowski.
Yes, it is, baby.
He's such an underrated character in all seriousness, but he's so great.
Nothing was better than watching first of all, the movie, not the actual first movie, but the game show movie, and I'm trying to remember what it is. Where
are they up against
I know the one you're
planets or something, or what's
it's
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name of it. But
someone famous is like the person that's like hosting.
Yeah, I think it's Tim Allen.
It is
Tim Allen plays like the game show host and all that. Yeah.
What's it called?
Oh, Ian texted me about this last night. I'm like bugging now.
Yeah.
Win, loss, kaboom.
Yes.
Win,
lose, kaboom.
Win,
yes.
Lose, no, it says LOSE. Is that lose or loss?
I think it's
That's lose.
Which one's loss?
LOSS.
Which one's loose?
LOSE.
So Tim Allen is the Tim Allen's Melter Prime. Alyssa Milano's in that episode.
I'm assuming she plays the love interest from the other planet. Okay,
yeah.
That makes sense.
That's cool.
Bolby, literally the first one eliminated from Team Earth, and
Shrek
he's
says
like
Bolby
treated.
at 5? Sorry,
He is treated like royalty essentially, because he knows like the planet's gonna blow up, and he's like, "Give me another grape, Bolby." Like,
I love the Macbeth episode with him, just for the record.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, he was a great villain in that too.
Mm-hmm.
That was excellent.
Sorry.
What I remember, no, you're good. What I remember most of him was the election episode.
Yes.
Where it was Jimmy versus Cindy, and it was Bolby running as the third party, and that was where you got the walk up for the speech, and he was, "And Bolby, slap, 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 clap, clap, clap," and that everybody started doing it, and then they eventually just vote Bolby for president. Like,
I just remember the scene where they're campaigning and stuff, and Jimmy finds out he's behind Bolby, and Bolby's just riding around in a wagon, like doing slap, 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 clap, clap, clap.
Oh man, it's just he's top tier side character. And honestly, I couldn't think of any other person to like put on here that would remotely come close to that.
Chip writes in, no rhyme or reason, Denny.
Okay. HR and I are gonna have to have a talk after this episode. There's a lot of internal
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm a big fan.
I feel
of this.
I feel like you and HR are very combative lately. I'm not sure.
Well,
why.
at one point, HR tried to start a fist fight in the parking lot amongst members with Greg and Bo. So I honestly, my dad's just here
That's
to
been
see
long
shit.
overdue, though. To be fair.
Number 4. Yeah, I hate to put him this low, man, but like
Weird.
the brain himself, Jimmy Neutron at 4. I really believe that in this show, he almost plays second fiddle to like most of these characters, and it's not his fault. He's brought on there to be the kid genius, and I will say, were you ever a genius as a kid? Because I know they were picked on a lot. So
I have a counter.
All right, what's up?
You said that you had Vox that high because no other inventions could happen without Vox.
So you're saying I get
You
what
know
you're
what I
saying.
mean? That's the only thing I want to bring up. I don't disagree with Jimmy being 4th because the other 3 are electric. I'm just curious if you think that, because I've never saw Sheen's show.
It's not good.
Yeah, I
It's
tried.
not-
I always
watching it.
wondered how
It's-
the character, because it's unfortunate, like you said, but he, kind of unlike Timmy Turner, he's the smart, steady one. Like he's
Right.
not that manic, and so the rest of the character seems so manic because he's the controlled one. Chip, deaf second fiddle to Ultra Lord.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking characters.
Dude, I will say, if there's an opportunity, because we never got to see it, if there's an opportunity where we get to see Ultra Lord and the Crimson Chin fight, all there for it.
Got a blast away from this show because Austin's ranking is ass. Thank you, Denny, for your comment.
Wow. Also, I would like to make the point too that Jimmy Neutron can also, you can make a case as a detriment to everything around him. He's the show's biggest villain.
Dude,
For real.
Why?
Causes all the world's problems with all the inventions. He
fixes
thinks he's
them,
doing thinks he's doing like so much good. And I mean, let's use the pants episode, for instance. Like the pants were supposed to be so smart, and they actually were so smart that they grew intelligence and started taking over the world. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
They became
who's
self-aware.
losing- I don't know who's losing a fight to a pair of jeans. I don't know who's doing that, but you got me.
Me
But
every morning.
I was gonna say the only invention, there's only been like a couple inventions that didn't necessarily go bad either. Like Robot didn't go bad; he was just annoying. Like Goddard never went
True.
bad either. So
True.
there's only like a small amount of them.
Let's hit number 3. Was this person for Halloween? All time. This is Carl Weezer.
It was excellent, excellent.
Chip writes in 200 chips karaoke time, Miss Foul.
All right, cool. All right, because I actually remember the lines like, Jimmy, what did you remember to bring for show and tell?
It's actually pretty good.
I hope the person who does Carl Weezer is also the same person that does Miss Foul, because I feel like
I never
that's just-
actually went into
they
it.
have to. They have to be, because those two voices are just so like
Let's see.
over the top that they have no two people can be able to do that.
So Rob Paulson does Carl Weezer.
Why does that
And
name
Okay.
sound-
Andrea Martin does Miss Foul.
Oh man, I was hoping one person did them, but all right.
Huh.
We can't
Nick Dean
can't
was
all
done by a
have all
girl.
the talent. Can't have all the talent to do impressions. I understand it. But for Carl Weezer, primarily the show's biggest nerd of anything. Love of llamas. Is literally allergic to every single thing on the planet.
Yep.
I remember the episode where like Jimmy
Oh,
goes
God.
to like live with Carl and his parents.
Oh, I love it.
They're like his parents are at like the Burning Duck or something.
Yeah.
Yes,
Instead of
it's
Burning
incredible. It's
Why would
incredible.
anybody do that? But Carl is the huge, like, it's hard to believe there's multiple comic reliefs in this show.
Oh, yeah.
And
So
Carl
many.
like Carl provides like the nice, like, subtle comic relief that we all like have. Like, yeah, I just want to go home and like, see Jimmy's mom.
It's nice and easy, man.
Oh God! When that became like a recurring joke, it became so great because it was so cringy,
so good, and just so weird and so good.
It's just like, I mean, yeah, in the dialogue between Carl and a character we're gonna name later because of that is just absolutely hilarious. Things I love to point out from Carl Weezer, his love for llamas.
Yep.
The time to do his drum solo.
Yep.
That was another one, and just always knowing what to do in the right time. An episode that we're going to talk about later. It's a constant meme of I don't feel so good, and then turns around like, but then they use it for like all kinds of different, like they use Gangster's Paradise for one point. It was just...
I can't believe you also forgot to mention that Carl Weezer was pregnant.
Yes,
That's true.
Very weird episode because it wasn't his stomach that was pregnant; it was his butt.
Yes, that's where babies come from.
Storks and everything. Number 2, the master of Ultra Lord. This is Sheen at number 2.
Sheen
also the master of putting one foot behind his head as well.
Yeah,
that's true. Never realized that until you just said it, Craig. But yes,
no, people like, I can put my foot behind my head and just.
Yeah, there was a whole episode about it where he like turned out to be this ancient like kung fu master
Chinese warrior. Yeah,
like, it's incredible. Yeah.
The thing I loved most about the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was the interactions between Cosmo and Sheen.
Yeah.
Like, it is by far, the two most chaotic characters on the show corresponding back and forth. Absolutely hilarious.
Yep.
Like, no doubt. And yes, Sheen did get his own show. Not good. The first episode was good. And
doesn't he get sent to space or something?
Yeah, he gets sent to space and lives on like a planet with like...
It's just so like...
so off ball. I mean, maybe they thought the character was so like off ball that he thought he could fit in any situation that they threw at him.
Yeah.
So they did this one, and it just, not to compare it to like, Family Guy with the Cleveland show, but both eventually flopped. So just sometimes it's better to just know your role, shut your mouth.
So what you're saying is that spinoffs usually don't work out so well, huh? Austin?
Sometimes. I think that sometimes they don't.
When has a spinoff ever worked out?
Oh, I would say, could you call Peacemaker a spinoff?
I guess, but okay. So that's like the biggest spinoff you can think of that worked out.
No, but like it's the only thing I can think of right now.
All right, well, think of some other ones.
Oh, okay, yeah, like some spinoffs.
What about Greg? Let's see, spinoffs. I mean, maybe the Harry Potter movie, the Dumbledore. Those are kind of spinoffs, maybe.
Yeah, I'd say those are
spinoffs. Yeah, maybe. Did anybody from SpongeBob have a show? No, I don't think so.
Well, I think Patrick was getting his own show.
Yeah, Patrick got his own show, Greg. I mean, think about even shows like, I don't know, the RankKing's Court.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
You know. How did that just like completely...
It's done okay. I would say this is equal to Sheen's show.
Mm-hmm.
73 episodes and counting.
Quick, look up how many episodes the Sheen show has.
You're evil. That was evil. That was
Number
evil.
one.
That was evil. That was evil.
Number 1, the reason I tuned in for the show 100% of the time.
Yep.
It was because of this man, Hugh Neutron.
Yup.
I've never seen anyone have an affinity for mallards in my life and ducks and just anything with webbed feet, apparently. But this man is just the king of it.
Just the quotes, man. There's a specific quote that I'm remembering now that I never got as a kid, where he's like, "Oh, one day I sat on a banana and that changed my life forever." And I said, "Oh," thinking as a kid, like, "Oh, that's gotta like mess up your
That's
pants."
gross. Yeah.
And like, I'm thinking now, I'm like, "Oh, there's something. There's an underlying meaning to that, or something." But
I love the episode where he's a car salesman and he's so good at his job. Well, I mean, he's a car salesman all the time, but he's so good at his job that everyone in town has a car, so they have to move because
Yes.
no one needs to buy a car anymore. And then whatever it is goes through the town, destroys all the cars, and he's like, "I'm back in business, Jimbo."
Who could forget when they go on to the movie scene and it becomes Donut Boy? That's me.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yep.
The snow episode where he leads a charge of other dads to huck cluck 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 huck cluck cluck.
That's great. Yep.
Caribou.
In Win Lose Kaboom, where he is literally the reason that Earth is saved because he loves interstellar
game shows. Yes.
No,
Really?
not interstellar. He loves some like soap opera that's like
That's
aired in one of
it,
the
yeah.
alien planets and stuff. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. That was like his lifeline or whatever, I think. Like he had to call on his dad for that question. Trying to think, like there's so many Neutron moments that they honestly like escape me.
Or where he could have been part owner of McSpanky's and he ended up
Taco
That's
Shack.
a good one.
Taco
That's a good
Shack.
one.
You'll eat cheese until you yak. The whole reason that's probably a big one where he eats at McSpanky's and hates it. So McSpanky's destroys every other fast food restaurant that's in Retroville.
Yep.
And every time it's just like, no, they took down this.
It's so good, dude. I forgot about McSpanky's.
Oh God. And then obviously the memes that have come in from this man. The one that I always love that I said at the beginning of the show is like, well, time to send it in the shadow realm, Jimbo.
And then of course I will never forget Endless Pie.
Endless Pie. And the good old where are they from? What's the town called?
Retroville.
Thank you. The Retroville Toaster Convention.
Oh God.
Never forget. Never forget.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's just I hate to compare it with like Timmy Turner's dad, but like the adults in the Nickelodeon show, primarily the dads, are some of the most thought out, well-developed idiot characters, but they mean so well to the show. You have these two. You have SpongeBob's dad really doesn't come into play at times, but you have Jack Fenton from Danny Phantom, of how much of a lovable idiot he is. Like just they just know how to write a dad character, man.
Yeah.
So well.
For the record, 1 season, 26 episodes, 50 segments. The Sheen Show. Planet Sheen.
You are above and beyond, bud.
Yeah.
You surpassed that.
Wow.
I'll look up the Cleveland Show next.
My name is Cleveland Brown. Gosh. The characters of that show, man. All right. That's it. Time for the great debate. I'm probably working.
That sucks.
Yeah.
All right, we are on the great debate.
Alrighty. As you all know, Jimmy Neutron's subject tonight. We did a show 2 weeks ago entitled The Fairly Odd Parents, and probably one of the biggest crossovers that happened, because this is before crossovers became a thing. Essentially, when Marvel wasn't on their A game of doing crossovers for everything, the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was like the greatest thing to happen to Nickelodeon.
Massive,
in my
yeah.
honest opinion.
Huge.
Not only the animation through everything. You had originally Timmy in 2D, Jimmy in 3D, and then they swapped.
Oh, that was the
You got to
best.
see how weird like each character looked.
Jimmy's hair in 2D was
Timmy's teeth in 3D.
Timmy's. Oh my God, it was crazy.
The fact of the matter, how Cindy fell for Timmy automatically, which makes absolutely no sense.
Timmy's
But,
edgy, bro.
yeah, Fairly Odd Parents.
He's edgy, my guy.
So my question is simple: which is better, Jimmy Neutron or Fairly Odd Parents? And I think there is no wrong answer. I think that each one of them has their own charm that they bring. It's just a matter of which charm excites you more as a viewer.
In both shows, so here's why I like this debate. both shows have the ability to make impossible things real. So,
Right,
if
yes.
you were comparing these to, Rocket Power, as much as I adore Rocket Power is a very real you can do all this stuff. Both of these shows added a level of, Jimmy was smart enough, had the technology, and he was basically Iron Man, and Timmy had magic on his side. It was, I guess Thor? I don't know.
By default, yeah.
Kind of lost it halfway through, but also Thor does magic, so.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So I don't know where you guys want to start with this. If y'all want to,
Do you want us to go first and then you finish up?
Yeah, sure, you can do that.
Go ahead, Greg.
So this one is, I like this because this is really tough and it makes me think. So if you put both shows in front of me, I would have no problem watching either of them. I can make solid cases for each one, but I have to say that if I had to pick between the two, it's Fairly Odd Parents.
Mm-hmm.
I have to.
Okay.
There are so many times when I watch that show, and we touched on this when we did this 2 weeks ago, Austin. The amount of jokes just come at you so fast that you don't even realize what happens. That you have to go back and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Some of the stuff they throw at you, especially in terms of adult stuff too, is just hilarious in general. I look at every single character in that. I think Jimmy Neutron, what I appreciate about Jimmy Neutron is that the supporting characters around it are much stronger than Fairly Odd Parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Fairly Odd Parents, though, has just these specific characters that are just over the top and are just ones that you cannot get enough of. Even to me, the villains and the side characters that you get from time to time, they steal the show. And at times, anytime the Crimson Chin is on, I
Crash
love it.
Nebula.
Anytime Crash Nebula, or when Adam West plays Catman, I love it. Or
Never.
Yeah.
That scene where time to go night night, Mr. West.
Yeah.
Never. It's he has a daily thing where he just gets put to sleep by people.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. No, just any single episode, there's just something about it that just puts it over the top, and I love it. So for me specifically, it's Fairly Odd Parents.
Okay.
I am in my own head right now, trying to decide if I should pick my pick or pick the pick that's for the betterment of possibly the show.
Well, by this point, go with your gut.
Going with yes, because I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm also going with Fairly Odd Parents, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Chip Skylark isn't the only reason, but
Okay, I'll have to lose it.
No.
Skip Sparky Pants is also a reason too.
Yeah, no. It's those iconic characters. So with Jimmy Neutron, we talked about it. It's obviously everyone knows Jimmy Neutron. It's sick, but Fairly Odd Parents, this is where I'd put my trophy if I had one. Dinkleberg, there's so. What's that?
Chris Paul.
Oh my god!
I
thought you said Crystal Ball because there was a guy.
No,
Crystal Ball
no.
is the MC, and I was like, that was the dad.
No.
Chris Paul. Yes, but that meme is generation, and there's a ton in Jimmy Neutron that is so celebrated and positive and amazing. Fairly Odd Parents feels somewhat, I don't know, the Flubber Nuggets episode. Where nobody cares about basketball till the last 2 minutes. The episode where they go to the Western town and go back to find the deed, they're in my mind with Fairly Odd Parents is just so much more that Jimmy Neutron wasn't able to do.
I understand. That's a tough one, man, because you both picked it. I understand your reasonings. I really do.
We messed up.
100%. However, see, this is tough because Fairly Odd Parents, I feel like the plots and the scenery and everything are so much more inclusive and dynamic that make the show. Whereas Jimmy Neutron, it's all about what can the supporting characters bring? What can, I guess I should say, what can the situations revolved around the invention bring?
Yeah.
And what I will say is this. They don't have Carl Weiser. I am going Jimmy Neutron for not only that specific reason, but I feel in terms of this, whereas every kid wants to like have godparents and have the ability to make wishes.
Yep.
Jimmy has no rules when it comes to plotting out inventions. Like there's no recollection to what the factor or what the stake can be. Because everything
that's true, because he's definitely made weapons before, so
right.
he's not above that.
Whereas Fairly Odd Parents, it's a nice touch that there are wishes that are granted, but there are also a huge amount of roadblocks that are put into place that we don't get to see exactly how all those transpire.
I would take Jimmy's life over Timmy's because Jimmy's parents care about him. Right. Timmy's suck. So you only get Fairly Odd Parents if your parents suck.
That's true. And if we're talking about that's the question. Here's the better question. Like, if you're not like, let's say that Timmy's dad actually cares about you. Let's go into that retrospect.
About me specifically, or
like if you were like Timmy, like which dad would you rather have, Hugh Neutron or Timmy's dad? Because I feel like that's a huge. Is it Hugh?
Yeah, but Hugh cares about you. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying let's put it into perspective where Timmy's dad actually cares about you.
It's Hugh.
Okay. Greg's conflicted though.
No, I will say Hugh as well, especially because there definitely are episodes where Timmy's dad does try to show him caring. Like, I mean,
Agreed.
Squirrely Scout leader.
Bicycle episode.
The bicycle episode, watching to make sure that Timmy's not on the bad stuff on the internet. Like, he cares.
Where'd you get all this cool stuff? Internet.
No. I'm talking about the episode where
the email.
The internet episode where Crocker's in.
You're not supposed to be on those kind of websites.
Doesn't he break in the door?
Yeah, I'm knocking to show you I respect your boundaries, but asserting my case as your parent by coming in anyway.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just like it's hard to talk about like of what is better because each show just brings like so much greatness that it comes by, man. Like I firmly believe in my mind that Jimmy Neutron was better because there are so many times where like you look like where can they go from this?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time is building off of the relationships around Jimmy. There's I don't know how many scenes you don't have where he's not with Sheen and Carl.
Yep.
Whereas like in Fairly Odd Parents, as much as he's a friend with AJ and Chester, you hardly see that. There's scenes that are in like the very beginning seasons, but they strive very far away from that later on.
Yeah, that's kind of why I made that point too, that with Jimmy Neutron, the characters around Jimmy are definitely like the strength of the show.
Yep.
But Fairly Odd Parents, the reason I picked that is just because like if I'm going off of just the show and I'm going off of just from an entertainment perspective, I get so much just jokes and so much like just zany banter from Fairly Odd Parents that I can't get enough of it.
I get you. I mean, plus, where are you ever going to get a purple flurp? Like, where's your purple flurp? Fairly Odd Parents ain't there.
Cosmo's sock lemonade.
That's revolting. That whole episode was revolting.
Excuse you. I want to be able to make a magical wish just from drinking lemonade, especially if what if I'm one of Vicky's slaves and I want to find my long lost father?
Oh, Dimmadome.
There's no Dimmadome and Jimmy Neutron.
Mm-hmm.
Shrek did it. Denny writes in 200 chips. Sheen impression, please.
Well, that's I would honestly say of all the impressions, I would think that Sheen's honestly the toughest out of this entire show. So I don't mind the
really
challenge.
any like. I don't think Sheen has like a specific thing that puts him like over the top. He's just naturally over the top.
I'll play a quote for you, Austin.
Okay.
And you just have to repeat that quote.
Okay.
So this is.
Sometimes it's a heavy burden being a man of science.
I know what you mean, Jimmy. That's why I decided early on to sabotage my highly scientific mind with cartoons and sugar.
Sometimes.
I know what you mean, Jimmy. That's why I had an early age. I decided to sabotage my mind with cartoons and sugar.
That's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
That's actually pretty good.
That's very good. I feel you, Jimmy. That's why I sabotage my mind with sugar and cartoons.
Perfect. Nope, that's good. That's great. Trust me, that was
Mike's a lot of feedback there.
mine
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little
Define feedback.
like the exact opposite of ASMR.
Can you?
You sound like a.
Can you? Why? Wait a second.
Okay, you're a little.
What
better.
changed from two?
I don't know.
I think it was just you putting the thing up to your microphone.
Yeah.
It just exploded.
Yeah, is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine now.
What the fuck?
Okay. So lesson learned.
That's what I do for this company.
Good tell.
But
Thank you.
yeah. So appreciate the challenge. Alrighty. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick commercial break. Go pee. Go grab a beer. Go do whatever you need to do. Heck, go say hi to your people you live with. If you're watching here, you've been away from them. Do your thing. Do your due diligence as a family member, and we'll be right back for our top 10 ranking of the evening. Stay tuned.
Draft day intro going now. Going to the bathroom.
The most controversial show on the internet.
And I thought this would be great. It's going to be controversial.
Is it?
The most impersonated show.
You have to find all the best drivers and then you can beat me. Why weren't you in elf practice?
The most cantankerous.
We don't have turns. I'm winning. I'm undefeated right now. My dad could beat up your dad. Say it. Say it. Say it.
The most professional.
So, excuse me, that verb. So upset.
Okay, I found this on the web for a serial
I didn't
killer
ask for Siri.
personality.
The most insightful.
I think it should be Vo because I don't think he's seen anything. Dexter's sister.
Oh, definitely.
No. Dee Dee.
Oh, I hate you so much. We're moving on.
You Googled your fucking show?
No, I literally
What is
just
this
read it.
shit? You
Seriously.
know the characters though?
Not at all. I haven't.
Well, at least it'll be entertaining. The RankKing's Court is in session every Tuesday at 6:30 on Thoughts from the Bench.
Let's dive right into sports, as I have strong opinions on it. Which college team could beat a professional team in the same sport right now?
Okay.
There is not a single answer that is better than the LSU Tigers defeating the Cincinnati Bengals.
Even if I know the pitch that's coming, every other part of me is still normal.
That's why it's frustrating for me, Greg.
It's like okay, if I know what something is coming, I know ahead of time. I still have to be able to do the action to get the result that I need.
Okay, so they won 3 games in 10 years with 3 rebuilds.
I don't lose at arguments. All
Especially
right.
about fast food. So yeah.
You will never walk alone. Guess what? Now you will. Coronavirus.
I barely touch my girlfriend's cat. The most I'd be willing to do is like just kind of put my finger on its forehead and just like.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with us is Alex Kazor from Steelers Depot.
We are live with Ryan Smith, professional cornhole player in the ACL. Ryan,
what all franchises were you able to work with in the NHL?
With Phoenix, Carolina, and Detroit.
So here is Moorhead's ranking. Moorhead is my cousin. He is the rank king. Top 10 extra Power Rangers.
Oh.
Okay.
This is
The top 10 emo songs of the 2000s.
There's only one correct answer for number one.
Why is F is for Family better than Futurama when Futurama is like Star Wars for potheads? Like
I know. I think
We have one or two that are mad in the chat.
You're welcome for that.
Alright, we're gonna get banned.
Is here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say when I was making this that this might have been the hardest next to the SpongeBob, just because each episode roughly reigns about 10-15 minutes. So the top 10 Jimmy Neutron episodes, in my opinion, there are a lot, but there are your key episodes that made you want to be a fan of this show. So, I'm sorry. Are you? Do you have a question?
Question.
You have a question, Noble Knight?
How did you handle the TV movies?
That's a really
Interesting aspect. So, not included because not episodes. So I couldn't throw them in here. It's the same argument as of like why I did 2 weeks ago for the Fairly Odd Parents, why I did the specials and not the episodes, which I just watched that whole I rewatched Channel Chasers and rewatched Wishology, which you never realized how dope. Yes, Deke.
The Panthers restructured Christian McCaffrey's contract. So that's, they opened up $5 million in cap space.
Well, they're bringing in Baker. Okay. Huh. That's the only place I could see him going now, man. Like, honestly, this is not a good situation. So yes, Jimmy Neutron episodes, no specials included. Otherwise, Win, Lose, Kaboom would automatically be number one, just because of how wonderful it was. The aspect of, in my mind, I think Rick and Morty played off a little bit of this when they did their game show episode.
Oh yeah, but in a good way.
Yes. So we'll do the top 10 Jimmy Neutron episodes, starting with number 10, quote unquote, the Avengers parody. This is the N-Men.
So it's funny because technically I think this is the first new episode after Win, Lose, Kaboom, because they crashed the car they won from Win, Lose.
Yes.
Kaboom.
Huh. I never knew that.
Yes. So it was the five. So Jimmy, Cindy, Libby, Sheen, and Carl flying back, and they encounter some kind of radiation that mutates them and gives them powers. I believe Cindy has super strength. Libby is invisible.
Yep.
Sheen can run really fast, and Carl has the atomic burp,
which is amazing.
Yes,
it's hilarious. I don't feel so good. And supposedly Jimmy's skin is turned orange, and
a lot of vitamin C.
Yeah, a lot of vitamin C. So it was interesting that they went about it with this, because all four of them, the four of them get captured, and Jimmy is left on his own, to where he completely rages out and becomes the version of the Hulk, which I thought was dope. I was like, where are they going to go with Jimmy's like power? Like, where is it going to go?
Yeah. It was a neat little twist.
Yeah. So I loved, it was like Jimmy did get superpower. Like
he's also a genius, though, which is the superpower in most traditional comic book forms.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but it does make sense because it's a Bruce Banner thing as well.
100%. Yeah, like a Professor Hulk.
Perfect.
Agreed. 100% agreed. Number 9 might not be high on everyone else's, but it's high on mine because it's one of the episodes that I loved about the show. And number 9 is Hall Monster. Love this episode.
Not against it. Surprised it's top 10. Not against it though.
Yes. It's the aspect of what happens when you give an individual too much power or not enough, and he takes it to a whole nother level of power. He thinks he's doing so well, right? He's just commandeering the hall and doing this is I would love to put it in this aspect. This is what happens if Sheldon was given this from Big Bang Theory. 100%.
I like it, but I'm also just going to point out that I feel like Jimmy Neutron stole it from the SpongeBob Hall Monitor episode.
True.
Verbatim.
Although I will say, I mean, he didn't create a suit of armor and everything and didn't beef up Goddard to the point where like he would obliterate everybody if he didn't have a hall pass.
I mean, Albert Einstein was a hall monitor, so.
Yeah, but also SpongeBob also ended up becoming or was mistaken as a criminal and a villain that, I don't know, just saying, caused a lot of problem.
Unnecessary, but yes, I do appreciate it. I forget who they made hall monitor after that. It was
after Jimmy?
Someone. I think it was
Sheen.
It was Sheen, yeah. Because Carl was like, you could be hall monitor, Carl. He's like, he's like, it was like too much responsibility.
But he becomes ultra monitor.
Yes. Number 8.
Yes.
This is Love Potion number 976J.
The name threw me off until I had to Google the episode, Austin, because I saw you put that in there. I was like, did he just get really mad? Like at the thing? I was like, nope, that's the name.
This is one of those episodes too that like rarely aired as well, which was kind of surprising because I never saw this and I never knew this thing existed.
Oh, really?
Because I remember the League of Villains episode where they had the N-Men stuff and this, and I'm like, what episode was this in? And then it randomly played one night. I'm like, oh, okay.
I put into perspective of I don't know if it's because of the same reasoning, but it's why the SpongeBob superhero episode rarely gets played. Maybe there's something in it that the viewers just or the people producing just didn't think would fit. I mean, for SpongeBob, it was Make Out Reef, where like he's making out with himself. He's woo! Weird. But in this episode, they create a love potion and hope to actually, which is weird that this was how it ended up because they created the love potion to make a vaccine that would not make them fall in love with girls.
Yes.
Which is absolutely hilarious because then Jimmy and Sheen both get it with Cindy and Libby, and it's just hilarious because it's just like you meant well, but you thought way too far ahead for something so simple as you just don't talk to them.
Yep.
This episode also essentially starts the whole love stuff between Carl and Mrs. Neutron as well.
You think? So, like, I thought he had something with her before, like a little.
No, like this episode started it because, actually, this episode you can say was the starting point for the relationship aspect that the rest of the series kind of had from it.
Interesting.
Rudy.
I don't hate it. I forgot about it.
There's that sound on TikTok that's going around now. It's like, oh, I couldn't have another bite. Okay, I'll have one more. Number 7.
Taron Armstead agrees to a 5-year deal with the Miami Dolphins.
Well, sorry, what?
Taron Armstead, 5-year deal.
5-year deal?
Yeah.
Ooh, alrighty, love that.
I'm not touching a blindside anymore, but okay.
Number 7. Again, not one that a lot of people were high on, in my honest opinion, but I love this episode. This is the Retroville 9.
Remind me.
This is the baseball episode.
Oh!
Where they suck so bad at baseball that Jimmy creates artificial bats and gloves that will think on their own and go wherever like it needs to make a play. I'll never forget the scene where I don't know who was playing shortstop, but the ball was hit way over and the glove just took the person way up into the air.
Yeah.
It just came down.
I love that the baseball player's name is Tremendous Jackson.
Yes.
Oh, and I love that he's a giant ultra lord geek like Sheen too.
Yep.
Yes.
Forgot about that.
or I think his name is Butch, the pitcher. When they're facing, he like, if you hit a home run off this, I'll eat my hat. And he does. He's like, you get that one. He takes a bite. He's like, not bad. It's like, Ethan, stop eating your hat. But goes to show you that like, just because you get the technology to do it, you kind of make yourself kind of guilty in a way that you didn't earn it on your own. You know, whereas like in Fairly Odd Parents, so to speak, like you wish for that talent, you can't compete with it because it's technically cheating.
It's a good point.
I still wish we would have learned the Japanese word for ambulance.
Number 6. One of my like personal preferences, because it was kind of like dark originally, and I a very edgy, weird, psychotic human being that I am. Number 6 was One of Us.
What's this one?
This was the episode where the grandmother villain came into play, had the TV show that hypnotized everybody in Retroville.
This is one of the last episodes. This is one of the last episodes that was made.
Later ones, yeah, where it hypnotized the whole town into essentially doing whatever she wanted. And they were like not Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of thing, but they were always smiling and always like wide-eyed, like creepy kind of thing. So to me, I was like, okay, this is like a Invasion of the Body Snatchers type of thing. I dig it.
The
this is
Happy Show.
Yeah,
yes, that's what it was. Okay,
I'm reading the
like
description.
he was like running from people, and he went home to his parents. He was like, "Oh, guys, help!" And they were like, "Welcome." Like, I was just like, "Oh gosh, no!" It's freaky, and I love it. So, why I had to put it in my
They
top.
were like, "Watch the show again."
The grandmother also becomes like a proponent in the League of Villains special.
Yep.
So
Yes.
she's so good that happened. So
that's awesome.
Number 5. This is Return of the Nanobots.
Yes.
Yep.
Gotta love them. Gotta love the Nanobots, dude. One of Jimmy's unfortunate creations that ultimately gave route to one of the best episodes of the series. And I'm trying to...
Dude, they're so funny. Just short, fat, tall, skinny is the ultimate duo for any situation.
Yes. Wario Waluigi.
Yep.
So to speak. So.
Yep.
Synopsis: Jimmy redesigns his nanobots to correct his homework, but soon they start to correct everything in the world. It's like means well. It's just that all of his stuff he creates like is so smart that they eventually just become intelligent on their own right, and then just like do whatever they want.
But I love it that the solution is so simple. What's pi?
Error. Pi doesn't equal 3.
Yeah, like it's so something that me at that age I was like, oh, I know that. Like pi's infinite. Love it.
True. Let's hit to number 4. This is kind of in my mind the more romanticized episode with this.
Agreed.
This is Stranded.
Great episode though.
Yes. This is where you start to see the relationship blossom, so to speak, between Jimmy and Cindy. Going from in the movie where she had pigtails to going to the one thing was a complete throw off to me. Like I was just like, what's going on?
That was
same thing with Libby when she went from like her hairstyle to the dreads. I was like, whoa, it's like they're changing too much on me.
I mean, it was no different than Jimmy going from shorts to jeans, you know?
Or
like
what did
tweaks.
Libby went? Yeah. No, you're right. Never mind.
So essentially you have like the point where like the two always argue, and then everyone gets stranded on this island, and you start to see that they can actually coexist, not only coexist, but they start to develop kind of feelings for each other, which is dope because it builds the whole transaction of how these two interact for the rest of the series.
Yep.
Had to put it on here.
I also love too that they all like just stop and realize that Cindy actually called him Jimmy. Like something that like
instead of Neutron. Yep.
God.
Did you just call him Jimmy?
I think one of my favorite things from Cindy was actually in the movie where it was like when Sheen was presenting Ultra Lord, and he was like, "This is never been opened, highly collectible.
Yep.
Never been seen, huh? How do you know it's in there?" He like takes it out. He's like, "Yeah," and then he realizes what he's done. He's like,
Yeah.
"No!" So funny. Number 3. God, I love this episode. Battle of the Band.
Yep. I've got blisters on me fingers.
Obviously, the talent show, they realize that Cindy and Libby are performing a highly coordinated river dance. So the boys are like, what are we going to do? Well, let's start a band. And it became known as the Llama Lords of Science.
Yeah.
What a great band.
Amazing name.
And honestly, he develops instruments, whatever they think they can play. Highly dope. To the point, however, that each one of them believes that they are the center of the group in their own rights, where Carl actually hires an agent to be his drum. I got more time for me drum solo. And they end up going out there, not doing it, and they hold on to Carl to where he blows the biggest nose booger I've ever.
Snot bubble. Snot bubble is the proper term.
Snot bubble. Just highly great because they believe that when they destroy the instruments, they're like, oh, we could still go out there and do it. And I'm like, you idiots. No, you just it's so great.
Agreed.
Number 2.
This is my number 1, Austin, for the record.
This is your number 1. Okay, so I didn't think a lot of people loved this episode. I cherished it because this is what being a young kid on the weekends is all about.
Yep.
Number 2 is Sleepless in Retroville.
I think this one's sick because it has very much tie into, which I think Rick and Morty stole, was the Freddy Krueger family aspect of horror. Like the fact that the horror creature has a family and
yes,
dude. And I wanted that machine. Oh
yes. The synopsis: Jimmy tries to create like the perfect sleepover of Sheen and Carl. That means scary movies. That means pizza. It means all other things. And what ends up happening is that the machine combines everything into one single thing. And that is a scary ass pizza.
Yep.
Here's the thing. 2 things about the episode. Number 1, they did scary pillows and scary pizza.
Yes.
They didn't do pillow pizza. So that the part is a little annoyed by. Just saying.
I don't know how I would feel about pillow pizza.
And then the second thing is, I love the intro when Hugh opens the door and he's like, toothbrushes.
Yeah. Sleeping bags.
Toothbrush party. You're moving in. Oh,
we got 2 more mouths to feed, honey.
So good.
Oh my God.
And fudge anchovy. Who would have thought fudge anchovy would be a great pizza?
For real. No, now honestly, when I think of pillow pizza, I think of like when I get too drunk and I like put a piece of pizza like in a pillow, so I'll sleep and I'll have it for later when I wake up.
Have you done that before?
No.
He says when I do.
There have been countless times where I have gotten Taco Bell, not eaten it, and woke up the next morning and it's right next to me on the bed.
I've fallen asleep with McDonald's outside my apartment door when I lived in Greenfield and woke up and it was still there and I just looked at it and I was like, nice.
Emergency McChicken.
I swear. I was like, nice.
And then number 1, this has to be it. If it's not, I don't know where you're at with this show. This was by far the best episode because it laid down the law for a couple later episodes that happened throughout the show, but it was just so great. This is Men at Work.
It's up there.
This is the episode with McSpankies.
Yep.
Where they, I'm not necessarily sure why they go to work there. I think they're trying to raise money for
It's
something.
to raise money. Yeah. It's they were just trying to raise money is basically the consensus they needed.
So they get jobs, which they're clearly too young to work, but they still do it anyway. And Jimmy, being so smart, doesn't need to do like the kind of like normal routine.
Well, they don't. He doesn't think that the employee of the month, whoever, doesn't believe Jimmy has it. Like
Yes.
Sheen and Carl have it. Like they're saying, yeah, we need a sunburned clown with some lotion on the side next to a camel. Okay. Yep. And so the guy says Jimmy doesn't have it, so Jimmy decides to take it into his own hands.
Yes. What ends up happening, like I think what starts off it's like, dude, you missed a spot. Oh, it's just some sodium chloride. It's like, actually, dude, it's salt. It's like, that's what I said. Sodium chloride.
I think that's the episode that actually taught me that sodium chloride and salt were the same thing.
But he's like,
honestly.
bro, if I have to explain to you what salt is, you're never gonna make it.
You don't have it. And he tries to work the cash register and literally memorizes all the stuff in his head that he doesn't need to. Dude, you push the buttons with the food on them and it comes out.
It's so good.
Picture with money. Picture with money.
Big McThankies from McSpankies. So yes, Jimmy does take it into his own hands, and what ends up happening is like simply you just go up and put your tongue to the reader, and it gives you your order based on what your caloric intake is.
Which is psychotic to me because there's definitely times I go to McDonald's, I always get double quarter pounder with cheese and a 6-piece chicken McNugget meal. There's sometimes I go there and I'm like, man, you know what? I kind of want to switch it up. So if the machine told me what I wanted to order every time, I'd get the same thing every time. Sometimes I like to switch it up.
I would be curious, like, because it's based on your taste buds. So, like, it would determine, like, you wouldn't even know what your perfect meal is. You would just, like,
I feel like once I found it out, I would be destroyed. Like, I'd be like, that's my perfect meal.
And you got to think about there's something to be said about getting something you don't like. Because you ain't getting it again.
Right. There's no specials there either.
But there's that mystery, though, of just, I am curious to know what my perfect meal is.
I get it, Greg. But even in this one, there's no specials.
Beer.
Like, let's use McDonald's, for example. It's like, oh, the McRib's in town. Like, oh, I want to go get a McRib. And then you go and put your thing it's a double quarter pounder with like, no, that's not what I want. Yep. It's like, well, too bad. That's what you're getting. And love how he puts a satisfactory thing on the machine to the point where, like, if people don't like it, the restaurant literally tries to remove them permanently.
Yep.
Like, and we see that when Hugh Neutron like does his Taco Shack song where the restaurant
so good
literally blows up melts every single like location other than that restaurant, so it becomes the only competition. The thing that I also enjoyed about this is that when the restaurant was thrown into space, we see that two characters then use that machine to go back down. So it's all continued, which I appreciated for this.
I do appreciate that.
Agreed.
Yeah. There's at least some continuity aspect to it.
And just saying, wouldn't want to be in a burger suit in hot weather. Just saying. That's taking broiled and medium well done to a whole nother level. So.
We are currently looking at all your top 10, Austin. Are there any other episodes that really gave you some troubles here?
The Snowden episode was definitely one.
That's
where
a big one.
That was one. I would say
I love the School Musical one.
Yes, there's that one. There is the candy episode where they create the candy where it's great.
I would throw in the one with the Astra Rubies.
Yes, that's a big one too.
The Astra Rubies I would throw in there, and then the other one would be Sheen's brain, because we are introduced to the three Amigops.
Yep.
Yes. I would say maybe the intro episode to Professor Calamitous. I think that was hilarious how they brought it that he was a genius, but he couldn't finish anything.
Yep.
I don't know if there's.
Is the movie one considered? Not
No,
like
I was going to say the Power Hour.
The Power Hours would be in my mind, they're considered specials.
Well,
so
when I said movie, I'm talking about like the episode where like Jimmy writes a script and they bring a movie to.
Yeah, that's one that that's one that I thought of. The monster hunting episode was another one where they go out and try to catch the giant sea turtle creature that's in Retroville. That was one. The Brobot one, the cars where they make that one. They made the mechanical car salesman that literally tries to take all the profits away from Hugh Neutron. That's one. Like,
another Professor Calamitous one is the one where they try to steal a diamond
egg
for a Japanese. Yeah, the diamond egg for a Japanese like princess. Yeah.
Yep.
Is that also the one where Sheen is the ninja? Because that's one too.
I
Like
think
that was
so.
a hard. Like
I feel like it is.
so. Again, multitude of episodes that went into just making what the show was, and maybe not as hard as SpongeBob as I made it out to be, because I think that's still ultimately the hardest ranking I think I've ever done, just because it was so hard.
Yeah.
I think that's about it for our segment here at Jimmy Neutron. We've all been brain blasted in this, I can tell you that much. So
it's a really good point.
So you streaming tonight, Deke?
I'm not. After this, I'm recording an episode of The Vault because Ben was unable to. So going straight into The Vault, and then I will have worked from forever to forever for all good reasons.
You're just a hardworking individual, Deke. No days off.
Till then,
except tomorrow, I'm off. Yeah.
Until then, you can always find a glory of our content that we bring here at Thoughts on the Bench. Us every Tuesday, 6:30. You have the beautiful Deke and the boys. I will give you the thing on draft day, Mondays at 8.
Yeah, it's
8 o'clock.
8 to 10 your time.
8 to 10. Yep.
Time. Yep.
Then you have the quote unquote flagship show, Two Beers Deep, on Thursdays, as well as the Vault on Fridays. So multitude of content that we have here at Thoughts from the Bench that we love to do. All three of us in here are mock draft boys, all the mock draft stuff that's going to be coming in the next,
Did you guys read mine?
Did
you read mine?
I have not yet.
I have read it, so, which is why you were so confused at why I was like, there's no thing after like all the people. And I was like, no, he has the stuff in there.
No, Austin, you ask questions and then I give you the answer and then you say, no, I knew that, but it's the answer to your literal question.
Okay.
You do it. You do it a lot. Like,
I do.
Come on now.
I'm a stickler for it. I don't try to. It just happens.
I know.
But all that stuff is going to be coming out in aspect because of all the news that is coming from the NFL.
Yep. And unlike some people who put out mock drafts, none of us are able to take back our spicy hot takes and say we actually didn't send them. We own.
Well, it's more that he sends a million and then wants to be patted on the back for the correct ones when that's like 1 out of a trillion.
Or when he clearly tweets or sends something. No.
Okay,
or when someone likes to tweet or send something to us and then claims he actually didn't send it. I mean, that's just being ridiculous.
Just being a jagoff.
Happens to the best of us. But until then, thank you. The audience always is wonderful. You're the reason we do this. And why we are 73 episodes in to the RankKing's court, hoping to hit 100 and keep going more. Until then, we don't have the gavel with us, unfortunately, but I'm assuming Greg will rock, paper, scissors. Okay.
No, this is like the pretend version of the gavel. So
okay. All right. I figured. All right. Say goodnight, Deke.
Yep. Love you.
Court is adjourned.
Court is adjourned.